There's always so much to talk about in real estate and how complicated the process is for sellers and buyers. And you
And
know,
it, and it's about to get a lot more complicated.
it's going to change. I don't know. Complication is always part of it, but
Right.
it's going to change. And yet I was thinking that as much as it seems complicated sometimes here for sellers and buyers, when we travel, we find out that it could be even maybe more complicated, but at least really different than what we're
So
used
much
to.
different than what we're used to.
We should talk about that.
Let's do it.
Well, welcome back to the channel. I'm Terry Pasquarelli, MVP Realty.
Rich with MVP Realty.
And we want to talk a little bit about what it might be like if you were selling and purchasing a home in another part of the world.
Right.
And we think of it all the way we process things.
Mhm.
It can be quite different. So we're going to take you with us to see how a sale is conducted in Australia.
Right. And
So
this is a
that's-
typical sale. This is not anything out of the ordinary. This is how they buy and sell homes every day in Australia.
That's right. And what would happen if you were a seller is that you and your listing broker
Mhm.
would come together and put up a plan for basically a month's period.
Right.
So it's pretty typical that they would market for a month.
Right.
And that marketing would include all the usual online listings
Mhm.
with photographs and hopefully professionally done photos or video of your
Right.
property that you want to sell.
Mhm.
And then there are the equivalent of our open houses, but
Right.
they're kind of different.
They are different. And of course, now these here, you were saying about the marketing part, they also put up a huge sign in front of your house. No little for sale sign here. These things are usually maybe about a 4x8 foot
They're like a billboard.
billboard.
And they might cover pretty much the front of your property.
Yeah, and it's
Right
got
up by
pictures
up by
and
the sidewalk.
everything about it right up on the sidewalk. And it's lit, so if you walk by at night, you can see it. So, yeah.
So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
So that's another key component. But I was thinking a lot about those equivalent to an open house, but feels very different than an open house.
Sure.
We often say, well, the weekend is a great time for an open house in the US.
Mhm.
You might say we're going to hold open a condo or a single family home for 2 or 3 hours
Right.
on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon.
Mhm.
Once in a while during the week, but often on a weekend
Right.
when people are off and maybe are really thinking about their future home plans.
Right.
And for the seller, it's a time when they can also vacate the house, especially if they work from home these days.
Sure.
And it's not disruptive to their schedule. They go find something great to do, and they let the real estate professionals host an open house for a few hours.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different in Australia.
It is a little bit different. Not to worry, because you don't have to worry about any 3-hour, 2-hour open houses on a weekend.
No,
That's not going to happen.
they often do 2 a week,
Right.
and it could be on a Wednesday or a Thursday,
Right.
and then again maybe on a Saturday.
And then again on a Saturday.
How long have you seen the typical, they call them inspections, home
Yeah.
inspection periods, but they're like an open house,
It's a full half hour.
half hour.
So you have a half an hour to get there and see the home that you're looking at, and
The agent will be there
the agent will be
and
there.
ask and answer questions.
Right.
And I brought an example back with me. There might be, similar to what we have, a printed piece that has information about the home and really features some nice photos,
Mhm.
usually exterior and a few interior
Right.
shots as well.
Right.
And so that part is pretty similar, and it might vary with the agent and
Right.
the level of the home that you're selling,
Sure.
in terms of how much you invest in that marketing piece. But there's information you can take with you. But boy, I hope you take good notes. A half hour goes fast.
It does go fast, and there's very little showings by appointment. You can, but that is not the norm.
Right. And so that's true. Like we have an open house here as an idea of complementing and finding a whole new set of buyers.
Right.
And most people are going to be using a private appointment system and asking for a showing any day during the week or the weekend.
Right.
And they'll bring their buyer's agent with them to let them into the property, and you'll be advised of a schedule.
Right.
Here, for the whole month that it's Thursday, Saturday, or
Right.
Wednesday, Saturday, and here's the half hour that you've agreed to,
Right.
and that's it. That's it.
That's it.
But what are we aiming toward at the end of a month? What could happen?
Well, what they do there is everybody who is interested in buying that home, they'll gather outside the home and hold an auction
That's interesting, isn't it?
right on the street. Every home, that's how they sell. Now, it's very possible that if you really love that home and you saw it on the Saturday for a half an hour, that you could put in an offer
Yes, you could.
and buy it there without it going on into auction. But I would say the vast majority, they go to auction.
That's a good point. So you'd have to put in a pretty strong offer
Right.
to let the seller feel that it is worth preempting the auction and the possibility of multiple bidders
Right.
bidding up the property. And then, you would say, well, I'll put in my strong offer and maybe they'll just accept it and make it a lot simpler for everybody. And that definitely could happen and you could win that way.
Right.
But it better be a strong offer. Otherwise, what's the incentive to the seller?
It has to be, because there's less incentive to the seller. Because if you're out in the street and you're bidding and that person bids this and you bid another 5 and then they bid another 5, well, it's a whole lot easier to bid that thing up than it is for you just to put in an offer and them to accept it.
Well, let's take a look at what happens during a typical auction.
Sure.
Now, this one did go maybe a little longer than typical.
It did.
There were a lot of back and forths, but we're going to be here and come back and share a little bit more. But take a look at what literally happens out in the street in front of the home that's for sale. This is kind of fun to watch.
It is.
Timeless, character-filled home, a much-loved family home. Our vendors have enjoyed living here for some 48 years. Think about that tenure. It's 48 years. It's an incredibly long time. And we've seen that with a number of properties in Gower Avenue. So that gives you every confidence knowing that the lifestyle afforded here is exceptional. No one wants to leave for decades. So it could be another 48 years before an opportunity like this presents itself again. Now, before I call for your bid, the sale documentation has been on display for the last half an hour. They've been prepared by the vendor solicitor and states the vendor sells and the purchaser buys all that piece of land, more particularly described in the attached certificate of title as volume 05949, folio 662, more commonly known to you and I as 25 Gower Avenue here in Camberwell. The goods passing with today's sale will be all fixed floor coverings, electric light fittings and window furnishings. There are a couple of exclusions, one being the bird bath and the other the ornate light fitting in the entry. Now, for the successful purchaser here today, we do call for a 10% deposit with the balance of purchase monies payable in either 30 or 60 days. Now, alternate requests have been asked, and of course, if you're successful here today, we'll honour those requests. Now, the usual nomination and guarantee clauses have been included in the sale documentation for your benefit. Which means that if you're today without your spouse or partner, you can purchase a property in your name and add their name at a later stage. Alternatively, if you're purchasing the property in your company name, but ask the director of that company to execute the guarantee clause. Now, by law, I must advise you that today's auction will be conducted in accordance with the rules and or any additional conditions that are made available for inspection before the start of today's auction. The rules prohibit and provide fines for false bids, late bids, major disruptions, and those preventing others from bidding. As the auctioneer, I may refuse a bid, vendor bid, refer the bid, determine the bid amount, or indicate the bid upon request. Now, to the all-important vendor statement, the multiple plan of subdivision title here, a lovely wide frontage here, the Gower of some 15.85 metres, a depth of some 45.72 metres, so a total area of some 725 square metres of prime Camberwell landhold. If you're pleased to know there's no heritage affecting the property, so of course those who have future plans, you can certainly look at what's been built in and around you and what's possible here. You'd be pleased to know all services are connected to the property and Vic Roads have no proposals to widen Gower Avenue. Before moving forward, any questions pertaining to the sale documentation or the property itself? Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's really only one or two ways to be in the best position to secure the property here today. That is, of course, once I announce the words, the property is on the market, meeting with people's expectations. You are the last remaining bidder. Once I knock the contract down and declare you the successful purchaser, you've bought yourself 25 Gower Avenue. Now, in the event I fall shy from that level, then it's imperative that you have an interest here to secure the property here today. You must bid. Be bold, be strong, and have that first right at the vendor's reserve price. It's a very important right indeed. So buyers, no hesitation here. Properties like this are certainly far and few between. As I said, much love now for 48 years. With reluctance, our vendors are moving. Of course, a new opportunity for you. And it's a property that you can simply move into and enjoy that beautiful preferred north-facing rear, that lovely family room, and of course, an abundance of accommodation, flexibility in the floor plan with formal, informal living, ample off-street parking, garage at the rear as well. So guys, certainly one that you can enjoy for many years, improve, add value to, or potentially rebuild, of course, subject to council approval. So buyers, without any further ado, I officially declare the auction open now, 25 Gower Avenue here in the heart of Camberwell. Who'd like to be the new owner? Just raise your hand nice and high. We're here to assist, here to help. Who'd like to be the new owner? I'll tempt you in, sir. Perhaps tempt you in. They start around 2.4 million. A great buying at that. At $2,400,000, if you will, buyers. Please note, it's a great time to put in the bid. $2,565,000 once. At $2,565,000 twice. At $2,565,000. Third call now. Gentleman's bid. What's it be, Tina?
570.
Make no mistake, buyers. Anyone who's been holding back, waiting for it to be on the market, we are on the market and we sell it now. No better bidder offer at $2,630,000.
Do you take 633?
Sure. 633.
635.
635 now. 2635 the bid now. 35 the bid. At $2,635,000. 38.
39.
39. 40. 2.
Yeah, 40.
40.
41.
41. 41 the bid.
42.
42.
3.
43.
4.
44.
5.
45.
6.
46.
7.
47. How about you guys sort it out amongst yourselves and just let me know once you're finished.
8.
9.
9.
Happy to have a chat.
Lovely. Thank you. What would you like to talk about?
50.
50 the bid now. 650.
1.
51. 2651 the bid now. Centre bid. At 2,651,000. Keith, in your hands. Your retort, your rebuttal from here. At 2,651. Bid is here. We sell it away now. No better bidder offer. At
55.
55. 55 the bid now. $2,655,000. Tina's bid. At $2,655,000. Sir, round me off at 2.7. Surely, worth every cent. Sir, across the road's off at 2.9. Surely, Maple Crescent 2.7. It's worth more. You coming back? Anyone else? Need to know buyers in or out? Where to from here? $2,655 on the bid. Your bid, Tina? 2,655. What's it be? Lovely. What's that make us? That's 2,670,000, 75,500.
Another 500.
75,500. 675,500 the bid now. At $2,675,500 a bid. 2,675,500. $2,675,500. Bids here. You started something here, sir. The 500s. At 2 million. Yeah, thank you. I'll take you out for lunch then. Is that what you're saying? At $2,675,500. Bids here. Sell it away now. No bid to offer at $2,256,500. Once.
57.
57. 57,500. Thanks for your bid. 57,500. Tell you, you're going to have to try 2.8. I'm telling you. You're going to have to try something to rattle the cage. They're bulletproof at the moment. 57,500 the bid. 2,757,500. Bid is here. We sell it away now. No bidder offer. $2,757,500. Once. Twice. Third and final call now. Sell it away. No bidder offer at $2,757,500.
760.
Lovely. And 500. Thank you. 2.8. 2.8. That's the number. That's what I've been looking for. I knew you would get there. I need a rest. That's 2.8 million. The bid's here. That's now no bidder offer at $2,805,000 in once.
801.
$106,500. Your bid now. We sell it away now at $2,806,500. Once.
807.
$2,812,500 then. Once. At $2,812,500. Twice.
Is that we bought?
Yes. At $2,812,000.
500.
You're holding the bid, but I'm happy to take another 500 if you like. 816,500. That tells me that you've got more money. So let's forget about the 500 and just give me what you've come here to pay.
818.
818. At $2,819,500 now for the first call, second call, third and final call now. I'm selling away. Sure, no more. You're giving your best at $2,819,500. I'm selling. It's sold. Congratulations. Well bid, well bought. Welcome to 25 Gower Avenue in Camberwell. On behalf of Charles Park and our vendors, thank you for attending today's auction, and we bid you a fabulous weekend. Thank you.
Well, those are some interesting clips from the auction that we attended.
Right.
And I heard some things come up that, again, are a little bit different. They talked a little bit about heritage overlays and whether or not that was relevant to a home.
Right.
Maybe we should talk a little bit about what that means, because that has a big impact in certain communities
Well, it does.
that we visited.
Because a lot of the homes that are being bought there are going to be torn down and a new home being put up. So a lot of the homes have been there for 50, 75 years. They're built very strong and they're still going good. But the floor plan is obsolete. It'd be very difficult to try to bring that up to today's standards.
That's a good point. And sometimes there's no air conditioning because that was not a norm.
Right.
And the climate maybe didn't require it. But for some of those more modern conveniences, for a better flow, to your point,
Right.
a different style of personal family or living space, and then your formal spaces, things have changed a lot in the last 50 years, much less 75 to 100 years.
Right.
So there are some definite preferences for people to say, I want to be in this community. I like the size of this piece of land.
Right.
And that's more important to me than the house that's on it.
Exactly. And that's where the heritage comes in.
Ah,
Because if you have a home that falls into that heritage distinction, then you cannot tear it down.
and you better understand that then way before you go to auction.
Before you put that bid in, you better understand what you're buying.
That's interesting. So it may have a heritage overlay, or it'll be marketed like this one that we brought, no heritage overlay.
Right.
Which means, as cute as this house might be,
Right.
people are really buying this
For
for
the
the
land.
land.
Right.
And they're going to tear it down,
Right.
go live somewhere else for a while.
Right.
And over the next year or so, they're going to have a builder come in and basically put up a modern, kind of very livable brand new,
Brand new home.
maybe with more garage space than these homes had from many, many years ago.
Right.
And modern conveniences, pool in the back, air
Right.
conditioning inside,
Right.
modern kitchen, all the things we're used to there.
Exactly.
That would look very similar.
Right. So instead of, get rid of the 75-year-old home and then put up something that's going to fit your need the best.
Right. So that's really quite interesting. Now, the other thing is that the selling agent who conducts this auction here in the street is talking about the fact that when he basically kind of brings his hands together and moves the paperwork down and says, sold, it is really yours if you are the winning bidder. And that's
house.
different in terms of the implications of that than we'd ever be used to when we submit an offer from a buyer to a seller, and the seller might be looking at multiple offers.
That's right.
Here there is a single highest offer.
You got the highest bid. You own that house.
If it has met the minimum,
Right.
because
Right.
there's a floor that the seller's like, if I don't get that, then I'm just going to withdraw.
And that's
the
when they
whole
call the
thing.
market. We're at market now, and that would mean that it's going to sell. So whatever the highest bid is after it reaches market, that you're the owner.
Right, and you really have no way to back out.
There's no way to back out. There are no contingencies.
So what about inspections? Usually we would write an offer and we'd say it's contingent at a minimum on a home inspection.
Right. Well, if you wanted to inspect that home, if you plan on living in that home
Rather
and
than
not
tearing
just
it
tearing
down.
So
Good point.
a lot of the houses, if you're going to live in either for a few years or for the foreseeable future, it's already a newer home. If you want to inspect that, you need to do that before you go to auction.
Isn't that interesting?
And so you may spend several $100, $500-$600 on an inspection of the house, and then you don't win the bid.
Ouch.
So
Interesting.
there is that. Obviously, if you're planning on tearing it down, you don't need to do an inspection at all.
Right. Right.
But if you want to
There's
live in
certainly
it,
a number of homes that are also not going to be torn down, right?
Absolutely.
Obviously, as you said, newer homes or
Right. And
homes in newer communities
newer
don't need to be
communities. Exactly.
renovated that way.
Sure.
But that's a big difference. And to know that you have to really sort of pick and choose where you want to invest in an inspection
Right.
if you're going to look at multiple homes.
Right.
And the other thing that's interesting is what about financing? We always talk to our sellers and our buyers about what the financing implications will be of the offers that come in.
Right.
And here, there's no contingency.
There is
so
not.
you better know.
So when that auctioneer puts his hand down, sold, he's looking for a check for 10% that day.
That day.
Right
Even
now.
if it's on Saturday.
Even if it's on a Saturday, I need that 10% check today, and then you still owe the rest. You bought a home. You can't say, oh, the loan didn't go through. Well,
You have to do all your banking ahead of time.
right.
And you have to know what your walkaway point is, so you can't get too caught up in the emotion of the auction to say, oh, we'll put in another bid
Right.
if you don't have the financing to back it up.
Right.
So that has it just flips the paradigm to much earlier in the process.
It does.
So really has a very different look and feel to it. And to be out in the street with these cars going by, with
The
multiple,
neighbors are out there.
the neighbors
and,
are watching,
Everybody
and
wants to see what next door goes for.
right, and it helps people compare to what happened a month ago or a few weeks ago when another auction happened around the corner. And then those people who come out and are serious bidders,
Right.
sometimes they're represented by a buyer's agent, and
Right.
sometimes they've come on their own. And then the seller agent has team members, helpers, who can maybe stand with a serious bidder and help them at least keep track of
Right.
what's happening, because it can be very fast paced. It's verbal. And so it's nice to have somebody taking notes to help a prospective buyer know who's got the winning bid at the moment. And if they bid
Where it
again,
is.
what is the next amount
Right.
that they would be putting in. Wow.
Now,
it's just so different.
Like, you know, with anything, there is a strategy to buying at auction. And obviously, having a buyer's agent is it's very helpful unless you are very experienced with that process. You're much better off having a buyer's agent to help you, because they know how to read the crowd. They know how to do this. Well, we know somebody that came in on an opening bid $100,000 more than what the opening bid was. Well, they did that for a reason, and it worked, because they ended up eventually, not at that bid, but they eventually won that auction. But there's a strategy. So, like anything else,
Be
you know,
prepared,
be
and
prepared.
get good advice, right? You
Exactly.
want to always have a good advisor. But it is interesting. And if you are one of those people who just really likes tracking real estate and thinks a lot about homes and communities, even when you're traveling, it might be interesting to learn a little bit about
Right.
what the process is like in the areas that you're visiting. For us, because we are in this business, it was just a must do
Right.
to be able to get out and to see some of the signage and how things are prepared during the marketing period, what those half-hour inspection periods are like.
Right.
Now they even have one, and we saw it here, that they opened up this home for a half hour before the auction. So
Right.
you had another chance to walk through, and there were quite a few people who were in checking it out along the way.
Right.
But then it's back out on the street, everybody out, and the auction goes on, and there is somebody happy, and the seller will be excited
Right.
if in fact the fervor of multiple bidders helps to raise the price over what a single offer might have gotten them.
Oh, absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
we had a really good time.
We did, and sometimes there was one auction in particular where at the end of the auction, the seller was so happy and so nice that they invited the neighbors over to meet their going to be new neighbors, and
Invited the buyer in.
invited the buyer in, had a bottle of champagne, and everybody got
And
to
they
meet
weren't going to
everybody.
close for another month.
Right.
And so way before we would typically see buyers and sellers connect at that level, but you
Sure.
never know.
Because over here, there's still so much of a process to go through before your offer is accepted to finally close. Usually, buyers and sellers are not
As connected, personally connected.
personally connected. But here, once the auctioneer says sold,
Yeah. You know,
you got a new neighbor.
you do, right? So that was another aspect. So we learned a lot. Again, if you're traveling, you may not have the opportunity to see an auction like we did, but depending on what countries you travel to. But it is kind of fun to learn a little bit about the process and ask your hosts and people you're traveling with how it works where they are. And then sometimes you come home and go, okay, I think I understand why our process works. Mostly for the benefit of sellers and buyers.
Right. And
that's okay, you know.
It
It's-
certainly is. It's a careful process here that we go through, and I don't, we do auctions here, but that's very far and
Atypical,
few
right.
between. Not necessarily only because there is a financial issue with the house, but they'll do it just because they want to sell the house and sell it quickly.
That's right. So we hope you enjoyed this visit to an auction in Australia and a little bit of a peek into how another society and system works. And people are really looking for the same kind of outcome. They're looking for a home, not just a place to show up at the end of the day. And how they do it is just a little bit different than we are.
And it's
Now,
fun.
if you found something interesting and maybe a little bit insightful in this video, something different, we do hope you give the video episode a thumbs up. We appreciate you watching. And if you're looking to sell or purchase a home here in Southwest Florida, then give us a call. We're so happy working with our sellers and buyers to try to make that transaction as smooth of a process for everyone as it can possibly be. And we'll be bringing you more episodes along the way here on our real estate YouTube channel, and hope that you will come back and watch our market updates and our visits around Southwest Florida. Like and subscribe. Thank you for spending the time with us, and we'll bring you our travels as we understand real estate a little bit better everywhere else we go as well. This was a fun one.
It was. Bye now.
And when you're living your best life in Southwest Florida, there are so many things to see and do in the greater Naples area. I'll share some additional real estate tips and show you another one of my favorite places next. Check out the video in the upper right corner of your screen, and I'll see you over there.